Hey, this is Gen24 from Models Workshop. I'm doing a tutorial on masking and how to do fades with an airbrush today. We're starting off with the upper chassis of a wave serpent. It is a rescue, I'll put it nicely, and I had to do some cleanup, but if you notice still some rough spots, I can only do so much. But basically this is what you're going to start off with, and from here we're going to move to the primer stage. The product review a couple days ago, I did a surface primer from Vallejo. It's usable in an airbrush and to brush on. I'm going to go ahead and airbrush it on this time. Just basically making sure to do thin coats versus one massively thick coat. Using my double bisque dagger as my primary, larger tip so coverage will be better. Not too worried about full maximum coverage. I just want to get a good layer on it. We're painting the same blue as before, so not a huge deal if it's not completely white by the end of it. Now that we've went ahead and base coated the model, we get a nice little even base coat all the way around. It's a bonus to having it in pieces, as you can get the edges on the inside really nice. The next step of what I do is I take a transparent blue from the Creatix model line, water it down a little bit with some airbrush thinner, and pretty much I just trace the lines of the ship just to give it a little bit of definition. You don't need high pressure. You can thin it out if you need a little bit thinner so you don't accidentally apply too much. Remember, it's easier to go back and add a little bit more than just to take away from something that you've added too much to already. So, nice even pressure. And this just basically gives your model a little bit of depth. And it's as simple as trace the mold line, or the panel lines. If it seems to be going too slow, you can always add a little bit more pressure to it. Alright, now that we've went through and shaded it, it's time to pull out the good old masking tape and decide what pattern we're going to do. I'm probably just going to do some slash patterns, and then I will get to showing you how to do the fade. Okay, now that we've taken the time to mask off the project, and it's going to look something like this. It all depends on how the style you want and everything else. And since I've been requested to get the tiger stripe pattern that I did, I'm going to go ahead and redo it on this shell as well. Make sure, one thing you want to make sure on is right here, we're going to be spraying this way. So these edges really need to be tucked down really, really well, or it's going to get under the tape and it's just going to ruin the effect. I've loaded up a wide tip airbrush, my Devil Biss dagger, with a thin down transparent black right here. Once again, using the Creatix Wicked Color airbrush thinner. What I do is low pressure. I'm going to open the trigger and spray about a 30-degree angle. In your first pass, you should see it darken. You're going to do another pass at about 30. Then you're going to increase it to about 60 degrees. And then almost straight over. And when you're straight over, you want to kind of aim more for the tape, so you barely catch the edges, and that's where you want the real black to be. And that's where you're going to get your initial shading, or your real hard shading at. And just basically you do that. For every edge. Now you don't have to just use this with black. If you wanted to use this with a white, you could. If you didn't want a really, really dark color, you could go lighter on your sweeps. I'll be truthful, one reason I use black on the edge right here is in case you get a gap. It's simple because it's already black. You just go through and fill it in. I mean, the black isn't going to show, but the black is what's going to offer a lot of the burst of color you're going to get with the next color. This is a 2-color fading scheme. If you do need to go through and reshade something, just hold the brush higher and you'll get less paint on the model itself. Make sure you don't hold too close or you're going to get pooling and spider webbing. So after this stage, your thing should look pretty much like this. Alright, so now we move to the next stage. Alright, so now we are at the last stage. Using the larger dagger again. This time I've mixed up a 50-50 blend of Wicked Color blue, metallic blue, and the thinner again. And it's pretty much the same thing, except I'm gonna skip the 30-degree step and go to the 60. And the reason is I want a really light coat out on the outer edges. So it's probably more of like a 45. And I'm gonna spray it. Now, you're going to have to give it a few coats because it does take a little bit for the metallic to start showing up on the black. Now what I do to get that really hard metallic edge, pretty much fold it over, and I'm going to give it multiple coats until I can literally see a metallic sheen or metallic blue sheen to it. pretty much the final step is waiting for this bad boy to dry. Now, once you finish making sure all the paint's dry, now some of the paint might come up. Usually when I'm doing this, in between each paint step, I usually leave about 12 to 24 hours. Kind of rushed it for the tutorial, so like I said, some of the paint, even the base turquoise, might end up coming off. So that's my my reason, and I'm sticking to it. Just slowly, don't go ripping it up. Just slowly work the tape off. Recommend making sure you get like the blue or the green masking tape. It has low tack, or look for something that actually specifies low tack. If you have a situation where you can't get some, take your shirt and stick it on the tape on your shirt a few times, and it'll actually get some of the gumminess off of your tape. So that'll help out too. You don't have to have a ton extra, but whenever you're putting it on, make sure to wrap a little bit over. It'll help keep it taut and pull down. See, the paint wasn't completely dry right there, so it popped up. Not a huge deal. Looks like I can touch that up with just a little bit of blue. So far I'm actually kind of impressed. Was expecting a lot more paint to come up because none of the stages were dried between. Just kind of rushed right into it for you guys. Now, you don't have to do stripes. You can do circles. Pretty much after you are done, you'll have the stripe pattern with the fades. And that's all that goes into it. Altogether, this shit took me about an hour to do. And that's from basing it to adding the highlights, going through and masking it off. And masking this was actually a little more difficult than some of the other things I masked, because it already had the antennas on the front of it, so I had to cut around those. But there we go, nice easy fade. That's how you do it. So review: 45 for the first, then come up a little bit more to about 60, straight over, but aim more towards the tape side. And what that's going to do is going to give you that really nice rugged line. You're going to want to hold it out about 6 inches. I really can on this because I'll be out of frame at that point. But so right here, give it a nice mist right here. So you're going to have, it's not going to mist out as far. Right here, aim on the tape side, but barely on the edge, so you get that nice dark edge. You switch over to the metallic color or the other color that you want to do, and you're going to hit it more. You don't want to cover all the way to the black. You want a little bit of the black to sit. So aim it a little bit more like a 45, hit it, and then go over. And I'll go over it several times until I get that really nice shiny metallic blue. And it's really great because with the blue on the blue, sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. It fades through. Sometimes it looks black, sometimes it looks just like the color that's already on it. So that's a nice bonus. But there's the tutorial that a couple of y'all already asked me for whenever they saw the scorpion, how to do the stripes. And like I said, you can do that with circles, squares, triangles, stars, whatever you want to do. Depends on how much time you want to take cutting out your masking tape. Masking tape, you're going to find it pretty much at Walmart in the painting aisle. It's the household masking tape, same stuff. All right. Like I said, that's a presentation of Models Workshop. You can find hundreds and hundreds of linked tutorials all around the internet, our massive Linkadex. We also do our own tutorials there. It's www.models-workshop.com. If you want to go see my person, see what I'm painting on, you can go to www.jin24. It's DJINN24. And if you want to catch me, or if you just want to go and see some really cool stuff, you can head over to heresyonline.net. That's heresy-online.net. Screen name there, of course, is Jin24. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I enjoy making these. Love to hear some feedback, so drop me a line at larrybkillian@gmail.com, just like it says on the screen, and I will get back with you. Tutorial requests. If you're a vendor and you would like to have your product reviewed, please let me know. I love new items and I love new stuff. Coming up in the next few days, we will be doing a product review and tutorial over AK Interactive's weathering powders. It's a new company out of Europe, and looking forward to doing it. All right, y'all have a great evening. Thank you for watching.